Right, hey guys, welcome back. You'll see the what's it called, Rapid Strike, brand new. Returned to a toy store because it wasn't working, and it turns out to be a tiny little broken wire just there. What I've decided is to do a really cut down abbreviated version, very short, because I absolutely love this extendable stock. I'm going to make myself like a stubby version of this. Recently I've seen a mod with the top of one of these whacked on I think it's a Stampede. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this probably along this line here, all the way along there, right off, just dragging a scalpel along the line, and then see how it fits on the top, because I really like the square front end to this. And I should still have enough room to put the battery in there because it's just going to be a 9 volt. So the cut will probably go straight up there. I could just fill that in, just get rid of that. Right guys, ta-da! There we have it. Oh, sorry. There we have it. So, just ran my big old fat craft knife along that line. And it turned out there's only 2 spots inside, 1, 2 that needed a bit of dremeling. So, got my basic body shape. Now, as always, one thing leads to another. This has created a dilemma because it fits on there really well, because I'm planning to cut that off there. I also like the idea of having the top rail forward. So it actually fits on there like that really well. That cover, that curve actually goes around this part of the cover. So I'm in a bit of dilemma which way I'm going to do it. My mock-up on the computer, I just did some photos this morning, and I actually used this top rail on there and work out which way I'm going to put that on, forward or backwards. On with the show. I'll get started on the other one. And it's pretty straightforward. Just pick a spot and start dragging your knife along. That's all you do. I found this one is a lot better because it's a much fatter tube and a bigger blade. I don't know. It's a lot more comfortable. And it doesn't take long. The first one only took about 20-25 minutes, I'd say. But just take your time. There we go. There's my cut-off shape. And I've been doing a lot of that thinking, hence the headache. Now my original plan was something like that. I hope you can see that. Yes, you can. Okay, something like that. With this area mating down on the back there, but that would have to come down so low to mate. I've got to cut out so much of this, and there's all the mounting points for the internals of Rapid Strike inside. So I've decided to do it that way. That will give me a few advantages. One, I've got this nice shape up the front. I've got this slope, which is kind of cool. I can use all the internals from that. This is just an external shell, which means I can just trim all this out, cut as much of that out in there except the mounting points. So that will go like that. So I only don't have to take it down much. Most of this will actually fit along on this ridge here. So really, I take that off, save it for another build. And of course it's going to have the original butt in, because that will look so good, because that's the whole reason for this. It's a very short weapon with a retractable butt. So make it really short. I'm thinking of incorporating the original muzzle. You can click on different fittings and putting on, it was going to be square if it was this end, and it would have been so much easier to fit it on that end. Just like a silencer or maybe a sniper's barrel extension. But I'll see if I can do it on the other end. Right. Okay guys, there's one side drilled out. Also the rear of this, as you can see, that sticks out. So I'm pretty sure, just like on the previous build, I'm going to have to shave a bit off that to make it fit. But anyway, so one done, next one, I'll get on with that. Okay, so got my cleaned out shell. So cut that off and back on both sides. A little tip, probably not a good idea to use this stuff in your Nerf goo mix up, because it's painted, and the paint could definitely affect the quality of the glue. So just use, you know, unpainted Nerf plastic. Now, I should really call this build one thing leads to another build, because even cutting off that lump at the back, it's still not going to fit. It's still too wide. So my options are to I'm going to get myself a piece of plastistruck beam and glue it right down the centre of that. So instead of that being surface to surface, it's about so far apart. I'll do all the measurements and everything and get it, and then I can stick them on both sides. As you can see, the gap is not too bad, and using the existing screw holes, I'm just going to, you know, use longer screws. And also, I'm intending to cut this top rail off, because as you know, I wanted to put a rail, big rail, full-length rail or something. But it's occurred to me I might be able to use this part of this and whack it on there. And that can go slide in, along with this, into this top void that's going to be empty anyway. Just another different look, just to make it look a little bit more unusual. Well, believe it or not, it's been about 2 weeks since the last section you just saw, and it's taken that long to get this sorted. Ground out a lot of the stuff inside, put this aluminium bar inside and screwed it in, and as you can see it's tapering, but that's necessary because the what's it called, rapid strike, it's very wide at this point, and I can't take any of this out because it supports the what do you call it, the pusher on the inside. So I finally got it down to where it fits like so. So it's level with the back where I want. Comes up here, comes around that, because I've done a little bit of surgery. Comes around that, which I didn't spot for a long time, which is causing me all sorts of hassle, so hence the great big oversized hole, because I wasn't sure where I was cutting. So now that I've got that as far as that, what I'm going to do is just put a couple of temporary screws in and hold it in place, so I can then work out how to fit this. Now, this is the original front barrel, as you can tell, and I've been making marks where I'm going to cut and everything. And it looks like I can take out about that much, which is not a lot, which is about, I think it's, yeah, 60 mil. So it's going to be 6 centimeters shorter. So I'm going to have a start cutting and shaping and probably making huge errors. Right guys, these videos are all about sharing information, and the information I want to share is I've made another one of my classic stuff-ups. I cut this off without checking that I had locating pins. I thought I did. I thought that and that were fine, but no, that's for the posts inside the blue plastic. So what I've got to do is glue this together where it's supposed to be glued together. Fortunately, it has a flat back edge there that I can actually put on this nice, well, this old melamine tabletop, and the other one, and they match up pretty good. What I'm going to do is, using my little craft knife, just make sure there's no burrs sticking up. I don't want anything sticking up off this edge on the top. That's the only place it's going to get in the way. So what I'm going to do is just use acetone by itself. So got the two bits like that. They're pretty good. I might even get myself a clamp and just store-bought acetone from Bunnings, I believe it is, and just brush it on the two halves. I'm fortunate in that I don't need to do anything else to this other than glue on the muzzle part. I'm putting the acetone on, letting it soften the plastic a bit, and then I'll bring it together really quickly, and it should, if my theory works out, be something like contact cement. As soon as you bring it together, it's a pretty instant bond. What I want it to be is slightly movable in case I stuff up again, but here we go. So matching the two bottom edges together, there we go. So by holding that together and pushing it down onto the table, I'm pretty sure I've got a reasonably good join there, and it's not going to be out of kilter. And so what I'm going to do now, without bumping the camera again, is put on a clamp. Now, putting the clamp on that end has forced this end apart, so I'll put one on this end. And I'm going to use the old capillary action trick. Just paint some acetone on the seam. Capillary action will draw it in between, melt the plastic and glue it together. So that's the back part. Right, good morning. So first thing is, now this is just a piece of styrene, sheet styrene I've had around for donkey's years. I'm just going to whack it on there and clamp it down and see how my goo does with just styrene. I think I've used it before. It's trouble with getting old, you never can remember. So I'll just put some acetone on the surface of that. And now, there we go. There's my little piece. Okay, I've even marked where the top of it is so I know which way I'm putting it on. Okay, there we go. So, I'm going to leave that to dry before I come back and glue on this. It's a very slow process, but that goes on there like that. Here we are back a few hours later. Now, let's see how this worked. There we go. Oh, that feels pretty glued on. You can only cut off a certain amount at a time. But that's working very well. Let's see if I can capture this for you. As you can see, there's some of the gum in the way there, but it's just going straight through that as well. That's pretty good. That's pretty rough, but all I've got to do is sand that off. Okay, so there we go. Our little piece of styrofoam, taken a bit of a beating on there, but it's still solid, hasn't popped off. Okay, so the next trick is to glue this to this, and of course, to make things simple for myself, I'm going to use a guide. So it's just a simple case of putting my goo around there, making sure not to touch the barrel, putting some goo on the back of this area, and if I'm correct, yes, those two parts don't touch, so they don't need any goo. Going to put tape around this, so anything that squeezes out from in between them, anything that goo's up on there, I can just peel the tape off, because the important thing is to get the goo on that surface, not on that surface. Now we're ready. So we've got our taped off front. Okay, so that goes in there, that goes in there. Right, so we'll put our acetone around both parts, and it's just a case of dipping a brush in. You don't need much, it just helps the plastic take the other stuff. And put some on this bit. Nice gooey stuff. Put it on the big sides. What I might do, I'll just dip the applicator in acetone to soften everything up quickly. The applicator, by the way, is just a old woodworking tool. Right, so looking down the centre, I'm looking at the centre lines of these that they're lining up, and they are. Right, so basically, bar cleaning it up and painting it, oh, guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the sight in. I'm going to have to just cut it and slot it over the top. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I will see you on the morrow when we actually get about trimming this barrel, cleaning that up, putting it in the gun, fitting it to the gun. And then there's just, about 1,000 more things to do and we're done. Okay, talk to you later.